Hello, welcome back to my channel, and today's video is going to be very interesting and because we are going to see so many advanced tool and advanced concepts of DevOps. So without any further ado, let's get started about the real-time scenario, okay, which you will be able to present in front of your interviewer while you are giving an interview. Either you're experienced, you have started, or you are, you want to switch to DevOps domain. So this is what a developer do. Developer is writing a Python code and Python code he will push it to the GitHub. Once he will push it to the GitHub, what will be the ideal situation? The Jenkins should automatically pull the latest code and apply, right? There will be various stages over there, right? So we will be triggering this job using webhook, correct? So you can see Docker here. So to containerize the Python application, we will be writing we will be writing Docker file. Okay, because we have already wrote a Docker file for Python, sorry, not Java, .NET, Angular, Node.js. Okay, so many Docker file we have already shown. So that is why I thought this time I should, write some Docker file for Python application. Okay, along with that, apart from Dockerizing the application, we will containerize it as well. Okay, so here we are using orchestration tool as a for or as a we will be using Kubernetes as a orchestration tool here. So for that, we will be writing the manifest file which will have deployments and services. We will expose our application. And here, this is one of the most hottest topic which you all were, keep on asking me to include this Argo CD. So here we go. We are including today Argo CD. So if you are new to my channel, if you don't know, like there are various DevOps project already there because this is the first channel on YouTube which mainly deal with project only. Okay, and in earlier project, we saw what like Jenkins is doing its CI/CD job, but here we are using Argo CD, which will do what? Which will trigger all the latest changes and it will apply to the Minikube cluster. Okay, so CD part will be taken care automatically by Argo CD, right? So that we will see here. So let's get to the list, like let's get onto the list and what are the things we will see. Like we will see advanced declarative Jenkins pipeline creation. We will be writing mostly using Groovy scripting as we have discussed. We will see here Jenkins runner configuration. So if you are new to DevOps or if you are experienced, have you seen this how to configure this GitHub Jenkins runner? Means instead of going to the Jenkins only, you would be able to trigger your Jenkins job. How? Using your VS Code itself. So there is extension GitHub Runner. I will show you how we can configure that as well. Okay, so remotely we would be able to trigger our Jenkins job. Apart from that, we will see how we can configure the webhook as I have shown into the figure. Or like whenever a new latest code will come to the GitHub, it will be automatically pulled by the Jenkins or the Argo CD also. I will show you how. Okay, so just go to this. We will see how we can Dockerize our Python application with a simple overview. Actually, this is just a Hello World type of application. Okay, and apart from that, we will see how we can connect to the like Minikube to the Argo CD and uh, Argo CD to the GitHub. Like there is a chain from GitHub. Argo CD will pull the latest code from GitHub and Argo CD will apply the latest changes to the Minikube cluster. So you can see Argo CD is mainly acting here as a what we can say, mediator. Yeah. So apart from that, we will see how we can trigger the CD job. Like mostly of you know a downstream and upstream job to trigger the upper job, CI job and CD job. But here we will see how we can achieve the same using curl command. So this is what you will be doing mostly in the industry. It's not like you will be doing simply, downstream and upstream by choosing going to the Jenkins dashboard. That is like very it is not going to happen always. So this is the best way to trigger your Jenkins job Using curl command, we will see. Okay, so let's just get started with the Jenkins installation first. How we can install the Jenkins. So let me go to the AWS console. So here we will be needing mainly two server. One server we will need for Jenkins installation, and one server we will need for a Minikube installation, right? So let me log into my server. Sorry, Jenkins AWS console, and here you go. AWS EC2. Let's create an instance. So I will be mainly you creating let's see, Jenkins. Let's name it. I will be choosing Ubuntu latest image. Okay, I will be choosing little, T2 medium size because I will be uh, installing Docker and many things. So that is why for this project minimal requirement, you should also keep T2 medium, right? After that, I will be choosing one of the key to log in here, and let's go. Let's increase the size, disk size as of now, and launch the instance. So once we have launched the instance, let's log into the instance. Just click on this. Okay, so meanwhile it is coming up. Let's wait until this comes up. So for Minikube cluster, because it is a time-taking process, so hope you are already aware how we can install the Minikube, how we can set up and install the Minikube thing, right? So I will not go into that. If you have any issues or doubt, you can ping me. I would make a separate video to install how we can install the Minikube server, okay? So once we are here, let's connect to the Jenkins. All right. So you can refer to my GitHub where you can get all the installation scripts. Okay. So if you will scroll down here, there is a section installation script where you will get all the installation things, like see here we have for Jenkins, correct? So let's take the command like earlier. Prerequisite is to install, JDK. If you want to install Jenkins, so JDK you need to install. So this will take some time. Okay. Once our Jenkins server will get ready, it will not take much time to, to configure those things, because the major part will be your Minikube installation. So this we have continuously doing into our project. So Minikube setting I have into my local itself. So once Java is installed, OpenJDK is installed, let's go for other command as well. Let's add the package and let's update the repo as well. So this is done. Let's take the next commands, and we are installing here the Jenkins here, right? We after updating our repository. So this is a type of project which you can mention into your resume without any doubt. Okay, just follow each and every step, because this session is going to be very, very important and very uh, you can say relevant to your whenever you are planning to switch to DevOps or you are into DevOps. These things you should know, because these are advanced things, and apart from that, it is capturing market. Okay, so once this is done, we will start our Jenkins. Okay, so here we go. We will be starting our Jenkins server. Once it will get started, we will try to access our Jenkins server. So what is the default port to access the Jenkins? That is 8080, right? So we would not be able to access the Jenkins server because in the EC2 instance we have not exposed this 8080 port, right? Okay, so let's go to the Jenkins server. Let's go to security. Let's choose the security groups. Okay, edit the inbound rule. And here for time being, I would be, allowing all the traffic as of now. So I'll be choosing all traffic from anywhere. Let's save it. Once this is done. So here we go. Our Jenkins server is up, right? So we need the password, right? Let's go to our Jenkins server and you have to be a sudo user in while, fetching the password. So this is our Jenkins password, which will help us to log into the Jenkins server. Once I have kept here, could never, I will choose install suggested plugins. So till the time it is getting installed, let me give you a quick walkthrough of my Minikube cluster. Okay, so I will be opening my terminal. Let me show you Minikube status. So my Minikube cluster is running. Okay, Minikube does not exist. Okay, let me check if I have to, I think it's in stopped state. So because the Docker service is not yet running, right? So for that, let me, run the Docker. So once the Docker is up, I can start my Minikube. Minikube start. So it is a time taking process till the time it will come up. Let's set up our Jenkins job because so just fill this form. Okay, you can put it anything here, but do remember your username and password because that is what we need while going ahead with the project. So our Jenkins things are done. Okay, so let's check again the status of our Minikube. So it is yet to be done, right? So fine. So what we will do, let's just go ahead and let's jump to our code. Okay, give me some time to so that I can open the code itself. This is the code I am having. This is simply this is just going to print, this message when you will try to access this application. But our motto is not to, deploy a beautiful application. If you know how to deploy any application, then it would be easy to deploy, any domain application, either it is .NET or Java or anything. Okay, so don't bother about what this code is doing. I just took it from, GitHub itself. So our first task is what was our first task? I think I have not added this server setup, and so we are done with this task, right? Server setup and installation is done. Now we will see how we can install this Jenkins runner configuration. Okay, so for that, what you have to do, just click on this .vs code extension. Okay, in this you have to create a file. The name will be settings.json. Okay, and what will be the prerequisite while you are writing this runner configuration? You have to go here, you have to install this Jenkins runner plugin first. Okay, so once you will install, just go back again to your setting.xml and here we will start writing our configurations. Okay, so how we can start writing this? It Let me show you. So here we will calling Jenkins runner dot jobs. You can see. Okay. And here we will not need many of the things like till parameter I don't need. Okay, so we have called this Jenkins runner configuration, right? And for that, let's just go to our Jenkins once. Okay, this is our Jenkins. Let's create a Jenkins job first. What will be the name? Like GitOps, Argo CD, and CI. Fine. Just choose this pipeline option, click OK. And as of now, no build, but still I prefer to choose this so that it should look well. So here we don't have to choose anything. Okay, for this moment, let's save it. Okay, so this is the pipeline name we would be needing. Correct. Let's go back to our VS Code again. So here, what are all the changes you have to do? You have to change this name. Apart from that, you have to change your this name as well. This will be your job name. Okay, and here you have to choose this run with. Run with, you have to choose Jenkins master. Okay, and this value will be set to default. Once this is done, you have to call one more variable, that is Jenkins runner host config. So this is what we are looking for. Okay, apart from that, it is having so many variable. Let me clear this as well because we don't need. Okay, we don't need this variable as well. Okay, mark this to true. Okay, and here see what are the things you have to mention. What is the user, what is the Jenkins username, and what is the Jenkins password. So this is what I have given. Okay, and here you have to mention your Jenkins URL. Okay, so this is what URL we have. Just copy this, go back to your Jenkins and paste here. Okay, so we are good with this. Along with that, what you have to do, one more change you have to do, whatever run with you given, the same name you have to use here. Any name you can give, but make sure this name should match. Okay, once we are done with this, let's just go ahead and let's just start our first thing by creating this Jenkins file. So pipeline, and it start with agent any, right? And here we will be creating many stages. Like first stage will be, okay, it will start from stages, and inside stages there will be various stage. So first stage I will create like clean the workspace. So whatever changes you are done with, right, it will copy a version of the GitHub file to your Jenkins. So that we don't need, right? It should clean up the previous things, and we should start from scratch. Clean up workspace, and here inside steps, you have to write a script. Inside a script, you have to call the function that is clean workspace. Fine. So once this is done, how we will call our, how we will trigger our Jenkins job from here. So for that, what you have to do, you just have to click on this icon, go to command palette, and this is the option you have to choose, like run pipeline script on default job. Just hit this. If there is no error, we could go back to our Argo CD. If we will refresh, we could see something. So see how beautifully we are able to trigger our Jenkins job, right? So once this is done, let's just go ahead and let's just set up our next thing as well. So what we will be doing? So I will be creating, environment variable. Why environment variable? First thing I need is I want to keep the code into a private repository instead of public repository, right? Because in an organization you don't deal with public repository. You will always have private repository itself. Okay. So let me create a GitOps. This will be the name of the project. Create this repository. And let's go back to our this. Okay. So let's do one thing. Let's add our environment variable first. So for environment variable, why we will be using? We will be using to hide our GitHub secret and our Docker Hub secrets, username and secret. Okay. So how we can declare environment? Simply under environment, we have to declare some variable. I will be using like Docker Hub username equals to. So you have to declare your own username, Hub username. Otherwise, you will start pushing into my. That is not going to happen. Here, let's name our application. Okay. And here, what image tag you want to give. Like if you want to push the image to the Docker Hub, you should tag it first, right? So image tag would be something like I want to use the Jenkins variable, Jenkins environment variable, and build number is one of the Jenkins environment variable. Build number, job name, job ID. These are the variable you can use in your code. So now comes to image name. Image name I will be using. So I will be forming it as, with my Docker Hub. So, image should be tagged with your Docker Hub username. Then only you would be able to push your image to the Docker Hub. Correct. So that is why we are using here this. So let's use the same variable. Along with that, I think this and with this, you have to provide the application name. Okay. So what is our application name? This. Okay. I will be using Docker Hub registry credential and I will make the variable name as this. Fine. So let's go to our Jenkins and let's configure these variable at least. Just go to dashboard. Hope our Minikube cluster is up and running. Minikube status. Okay, now all are running, right? Let's go to manage Jenkins. Manage credential. Click on system. Click on global credential. Click on add credential. And here you will be using your Docker Hub account name. So what is your Docker Hub account name? Mine is this. I will be using password. Okay. The same name I gave into Groovy, right? I will be using the same name here as well. Create. So this name is similar. This name should be similar to this name because we are fetching it, right? Docker Hub, Docker Hub. Okay. Apart from that, I want to use my GitHub, which is private repository, right? So provide your username. What will be the password? So you can't put your GitHub password here. Okay. So for that, what you have to do? For that, what you have to do, you just have to, go to your GitHub, go to settings, go to developer settings, personal access token. You have to create personal access token instead of your providing the actual GitHub password. So just go to this generate token, go for this classic option, and here it will ask you for the password. Make sure you are entering your correct password. I will provide Argo CD proj and choose whatever setup you require, but as of now, for time being, I would be choosing everything. Make sure you don't give this delete repo permission at least. So once this is done, let's take the personal access token from here. This is one-time token. Okay. Otherwise, you would not be able to see this letter. Let's go to our code and let's save it somewhere. Okay. So this one we will use into our Jenkins. Just go to Jenkins where we were creating password. And here let's name this to GitHub only, ID and description. So this is done, right? Now let's go back. I think I need to plug the charger. Give me a moment. Okay, so these are the things we have done. So we have created credential for Docker Hub and we have created credential for GitHub. All right. So now let's jump into the actual things. Okay. So we have not pushed the code yet. So let's create the first checkout source code, right? So let's create a stage. We would be needing the GitHub code, right, to the Jenkins server. Okay. So then only your code will get executed on the Jenkins server, correct? So let's create a new stage, checkout SCM. You can name it anything, but two stages will never have the same name, okay? Same definition. So this will have steps. Steps will have script. And a script, what we have to do? We have to call the git credential ID here. Okay. So for that, what you have to do, if you know, then fine. Otherwise, just go to your Git dashboard, just go to your job. You can click on this pipeline syntax, and here you call with credential. So this is our with credential option. Just choose our GitHub username and password. We will choose this. So either by this way or directly what you can do, you can choose this also. So see, it is for Docker Hub, right? So either you can go with this way or you can go with a new way I will show you because this one I have kept showing you in all the things. So you can directly, call your Git credential ID. Git credential ID. And what was the name of the credential? This is what we gave, right? If you will, this is what name we given when we have wrote the credential. Okay, here you have to mention the URL of your GitHub. What is the URL you give? So our GitHub URL is, let's take the URL, go back to the Jenkins and put it. Okay. Apart from that, what else you can define? So we are just breaking this. Okay, you can see. And after that, you have to provide the branch. What is the branch we are using? Main branch, right? So this is fine. If this is fine, let's do one thing. Let's do one thing. Let's try to trigger this code first. If all syntax are fine, then we would proceed ahead. Okay, so source code checkout is going on. So it is succeed. You mean what does it mean by get checkout? So if you will go to the particular job, if you will see here workspaces and see the code will be fetched from your GitHub, right? From the GitHub to this Jenkins server, correct? It has been copied. So that is why we were clearing the workspace. So it will clear this and next time it will bring the new latest code, correct? So let's go back to our Jenkins. Okay, okay, sorry. So once this is done, you can see the status from here as well. Okay. So just for for actual view, I was referring there, but you can see these all things. So one more thing, like we were using pipeline. So you need two plugins here. Okay, for the Docker things. So let's how we can install this. Go to Manage Jenkins, Manage Plugins, Available Plugins, Docker Pipeline plugin, and we need dashboard view plugin. Just install and restart. So we would see how we can write a new way of declaring these pipelines because earlier we were using simply Docker login, Docker. Okay, but here we will use Docker function. Okay, if it is done, let's go to back to our Jenkins file and here let's get started with the new stage. This time what this stage mean? We will be build Docker image, correct? And it will have steps. It will have script. And here we would be writing our Docker things, right? So what we will do? So we will be calling Docker a variable where Docker dot build. So we have to build our Docker file, right? So that is why Docker dot build and here you have to provide the image name. So once you will compile the Docker file, okay, what is the image you want to create? What is the image name you want to give? So I want to give the same name, image name this. Let's take this name, come here. So once this is done, but we don't have the Docker file right now. So let's start with writing the Docker file as well. Okay. So so let's create a Docker file here. So these designs and all you could see here because I have installed, such plugins from my VS Code. That is why you are seeing this. So from base image, I will be using Python 3.9. This image I will be using, then I will be running. Okay, let's create a work directory, container work directory, and we will do what? We will copy our app.python file to the work directory of the container. Correct. This copy file will be copied from here to our container. Dot means container work directory. So by default port export should be 5000, and to make the application means keep on executing in the back end, because whenever you create a container, something should be there inside, right? That will keep on executing. Either it is java-jar, or for Python it is Python. Then what is the application file name? For us, this is the application file name, right? So we are installing this Flask in order to run this code. Okay. And once this all thing, we are copying our application.python file to work directory of the container, and this is the port we will use to expose our application container, and this is the entry point which will keep on running the application. So once this is done, what we can do, let's trigger the pipeline. So it failed because Docker not found, right? So you are taking help of your Jenkins server to run Docker command, but Docker commands are not here, right? So what you have to do, you have to install the Docker command. So you can refer again my same repository where you can get the Docker commands as well. Let's just go to installation script. And the installation script, you will get docker.sh somewhere, docker.sh. Okay, copy all the content from here, go back to the instance. This is your Jenkins instance, right? Doc.sh, create the Docker file, come into input mode, press I, control save, sh Jenkins, sorry, docker.sh. Okay, so it will do what previously what we are doing, we are just compiling our Docker file to create images, right? So let's do one thing, let's move ahead with the next stages as well. Okay, in the next stage what we will do, whatever image we are getting, we have to push the image to the Docker hub, correct? So let's create a new stage. Push Docker image, steps, scripts. Okay, here what we have to do, in order to push your image to the Docker hub, you have to first log into the Docker hub, right? Authenticate with the Docker hub. So for that, command is your with registry. And where is our registry credentials? So we already have here. Copy the same, provide the name here. It will help you to authenticate. It will help Jenkins to authenticate with the Docker hub in order to push. So now we will push our Docker images, right? So what was the variable name? Docker image. first push image with build number. So here what we are doing, we are just pushing one image with a build number in the sense see your Jenkins, whenever you are running the Jenkins, it is having some build number, correct? For this Jenkins, we what build number we have 3, correct? So this build number will be taken there automatically. Okay, and one image we will push with the latest tag, correct? So once this is done, let's try to run the command palette. This time it should work if Jenkins is installed onto the server. Okay, Jenkins is installed. Let's check Docker info. It is up and running, right? Let's go to our Jenkins dashboard. Okay, it again failed. Let's check what is the issue. Docker file, no such file or directory. Why? Because you haven't pushed to the GitHub yet, correct? So let's push the code so that your Jenkins will be able to fetch the code from GitHub, right? Let's commit. Let's push. Once you have pushed, let's go to command palette and again use Jenkins runner to trigger the Jenkins job. So this time hopefully we would be able to. Okay, so you can see now it is pulling the base image Python 3.9 in order to uh, build the image using Docker file. Let's wait for some time until this is done. Okay, so it is succeeded, right? So okay, so let's go back again to the diagram. So what are the things we have done? We have written the Python. Okay, suppose for that Python we have created the Jenkins file. Okay, we have installed the Jenkins itself. We have written the Jenkins file. Okay, for that Python we have written the Docker file as well. Okay, and one thing we haven't configured yet the webhook, right? Okay, so what stage we are currently? We have pushed the images to the Docker hub, correct? So let's go to our Docker hub, log into your Docker hub and check for the images. Docker hub, it should have pushed the images with the build number and the so GitHub Argo app. This is the app we have given, right? If you will scroll up the GitHub Argo app and with the build number, okay? What is the build number? 4 Jenkins. Let's go to Jenkins 5, right? So here we have 5 and this is the latest tag, right? Okay, so if we are done with that, let's go back to our Jenkins server and now we will add one more stage. Like once you have, push the images to the Docker hub, you should clear your Jenkins, right? Because you will be keep on increasing the image load on the Jenkins server, correct? So that is not a best practice. Once you have pushed the images to the Docker hub, you should clear your workspace. So delete. This is nothing like you don't have to create a stage for clearing this all stuff, but just for clarity, I am adding this Docker images. And let's clear the files. So first image we have to what is the image name we have? We have the image name with application name and the tag. Tag is 5 and latest, right? So let's go back to the Jenkins. file, and let's take the image name first. RMI, and then image name with which tag? With image tag. Image tag is build number, right? So GitHub Argo app and build number is 5. This one image it has to clear, along with that which image it has to clear, a latest tag image as well, right? So an image name, and then instead of this, latest one. So this looks good, right? Once this is done, let's run our command palette. Okay, so we have successfully removed the Docker image, correct? And if you will go to your this Docker Hub, you will see build number, image with build number 6. So we have the 6 image with latest. Okay, because this is the latest image, right? Don't think you will get 5 latest for 6 also latest. No, latest is something like that. For 6th version, this is the latest. Okay, if you will not mention any version, this is the first image which is going to be pulled. Okay, once this is done, what is our next step? What we have to do? We have to write the deployment file first. Okay, so deployment file in the sense we have to write the Kubernetes manifest file. So let's start with writing the Kubernetes manifest file. Okay, and here we will be writing API. I think Kubernetes is not installed. API version. Don't know why my IntelliSense is not working. But let's go ahead. API version is this. What is the kind? Okay, it came. Now that's great. Kind is deployment. Metadata. What will be the name I want to give instead of my app? I want to give it Flask. Okay, and deploy. And here we have to mention the port, right? What was the port I have mentioned it into the Docker file? Let me check. Oh, so this is what we have defined into the Docker file. Same. It doesn't mean like that you have to use, but this is the default one which we are using. Okay, and the same name I'll be using to name my container, correct? And here instead of I will be using Flask labels. Okay, Flask have container. What will be the image you want to use? Let's go back to the Docker Hub and let's take this. Okay, tag name. I will be using v1. Why? Because I want my shell script to I want my shell script to, replace this value with the particular Jenkins build number. So my shell script will do what? It will check what the current build number is 6, and it will, instead of V1, it will replace it with 6 into my Jenkins code. Okay. So once this is done, let's create service.yaml as well. Okay. API version. No, this is version 1 only. And here you have to mention the kind. Kind is service. Okay, so it's already created. Let's go with this only version. Metadata should match. Okay, metadata. Okay, here we have the name, right? Okay, let's keep it. SVC. This is the name of my service. Okay, and the selector, it should match. Copy. Okay, and what is the port we have exposed there? We have exposed. Okay, so we have to mention one more port, that is a target port, which is already here. It should match with the container port. Okay, along with that, I would like to mention the node port as well. So let's take it 32,000. That's fine. Okay, and selector we have configured. This should match. Okay, all right. So we are good with this. Now let's go back to our Jenkins file, and Jenkins file should update my deployment.yaml's version, image version. Okay, so what do I mean? It is currently V1. V1 version we don't have in Docker Hub, right? It should match with the version which is, it should tag with the version current Jenkins build number version. Okay, so let's create one more stage. I will name it updating. Fine. This will be the name. I would prefer steps script, and inside that let's write some shell script. Okay, so first thing, let's go for multi-line things. Using this you can write a multi-line shell script, right? So first thing what we have to do, we will be printing what is the current deployment.yml file we have. Okay, deployment. Okay, this is the same name, deployment.yml. So first we will see it will print with the same version. Okay, that v1. Okay, later what we have to do, we have to replace. So I will be using sed command here. So string with application name. What is my application name? Application name in this sense, see, this is what our application name, right? So we actually, instead of this, we are searching with this keyword. Okay, we would search with this keyword and we would replace with, instead of v1, we will replace with the Jenkins build version. Copy this application name. Let's go down. Anything matches with this, we will do what? We will try to replace this with the image tag. Image tag is what? Image tag is the Jenkins current build number. globally. Instead of, one time, we are making it globally, and it should be done in which file? It should be done in, you know, deployment dot into deployment.yaml file. Okay, once this is done, we will again try to, check. Again, we will check the deployment.yaml file. Okay, either the version has been changed or not. So what we are searching for the string with this application dot something name. If something is matching with this application dot something is matching with some name, means our gitops.argo, it should replace with some particular image tag. Okay, whatever it is including, replace the thing and replace with the image tag particular build number. Okay, once this is done, let's try to run this and check either we don't have any keyword mistakes. Let's check that. Okay, let's go to the logs here. Okay, okay, we got error cat deployment.yaml deployment because it is not into the git, right? Let's send it to the git commit manifest. Add it. Let's push it. Let's check once our GitHub as well. We have not refreshed. Okay, so now we have that. Let's do one thing. Let's trigger the job again. Command palette, run. Let's check the Jenkins log. Where is, okay, 8, the number is completely succeed, right? So see, earlier it was V1. Now it's been replaced with this. Correct. Okay, and one more thing I would like to update here. I don't need this resource block as of now, or we can leave it. That is also not an issue. Fine. So once this is done, what we will do, we will do what? We will add the new stage. Okay. This stage will do what, whatever things we have updated. Okay. So this string is doing what, this string is just replacing v1 with the version. Let's check to the git. Let's go to the deployment.yaml file. So it is still v1, right? What we want, once it will replace with the particular version, once it will get replaced with the particular Jenkins build number version, it should it should be pushed automatically. We will do what? We will now try to, automate the GitHub trigger part. Okay, GitHub trigger part in the sense we will not do git add, git commit, git push. Our GitHub should do. Sorry, our Jenkins should do. Okay. So let's start by adding a new stage. So let's add a new stage. I would name it push the changed push the change deployment file to git again. So it will do what? It will update our current Jenkins file and then it will push it to the GitHub again. Okay, right now it was getting changed local level, right? We are not interacting here with the Git things, correct? It is just taking our local things like whatever it got from the GitHub and it is just printing that. But what do I want? it has changed, it has updated. Okay, it has updated, but it should again push the version file to the GitHub back. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do the automation here. Steps, script. I would prefer here multi-string, multi-line string, multi-line shell. Okay, and let's do one thing. Let's configure. We will come to know like who is triggering the changes. User dot name. Okay, global user dot email. Okay, and what we will do? We will just add the deployment.yml file from local git add, not all. Okay, and what else we will do here? So once it will get changed, once it will get changed, what we have to do? This is the user which will after update it will push the files back to the updated version to it will try to push the updated file where we have updated the version, right, to again to the GitHub repo, same GitHub repository. Okay, so once we have done the git add, then what command you use? Simply git commit, right? Git commit hyphen m updated the fine. And what after that? After that, what we have to do? If this Jenkins after updating, like Jenkins, where it is updating, let me clear you if you are having doubt. So see, if you will go to this build particular workspaces, okay. So Jenkins is doing what? Jenkins shell will update the file to V1. It once it has pulled from GitHub, it will get the version as V1 only, right? But what it has to do, we have already ran the shell script. It has changed the V1 to some Jenkins version, correct? And once it will update its the local Jenkins local deployment.yml file, it will update the version to 8. It should push back to the GitHub. Why? Because this version we will take for now we will see the Argo CD part. That is why we would be needing this build number. Okay, so that is why we would Jenkins will do what? Update its local deployment.yml file and it will push back to our GitHub again. Hope you understood now. So now what we will do? Hope you are understood. Please comment down if you have any doubt. Okay, I would be happy to help. Okay, what we will do? Let's go to pipeline syntax generator with the credential. We will go with the old method now. For GitHub, get the pipeline syntax, copy, go back to Jenkins. So Jenkins should authenticate, right? He would be able to push the changes to the GitHub. So for that, it has to authenticate with the GitHub. Otherwise, it can't. Correct. So what is the command basically we use to trigger to push the changes? So simply whatever command we were using into the local, we will use the same git push. And what is the GitHub URL? Instead of you can add the origin as well, or you can simply take the link from here. So let's better go with this because each and every time it will try to add the origin, right? It will show you this origin already exists and which branch we want to push. Main branch. Correct. So let's check the vendor. Right now we have the deployment file with v1. Let me check again. Okay. Now let's try to run the shell scripts to check the vendor. Okay. Let's check the Jenkins logs. Okay. Okay, so it failed due to something. Masking supported matches. Okay, I guess. Why? Because okay. This command is the reason it got failed. We ran a shell, but sh. What else? All are closing. Okay, let's try to run this. I don't think this is the issue now. Okay, something else issue is there, right? Invalid username and password for the GitHub. All right. So what is the password we have given? This is what credential we are using. Authentication failed. Let me check and come back to you. I think this can be the issue. I have used a wrong username. Let's save this and let's try to rerun the pipeline. Okay. Okay. This time it should work because the username what we used that was wrong. Okay, let's click on the job and let's see if it is able to push. Okay, authentication failed again. Let me check. So I have debugged the issue, but I don't know why my this personal access token of GitHub stopped working. So what I did, I just generated a new personal access token and assigned it to the Jenkins, and when I ran, it executed this. Okay, it is able to authenticate now. So once we will go back to the GitHub and we will try to see the deployment.yaml version. So it see our shell script has perfectly updated the version of the image. Okay, okay, because the same image version is being pushed to the Docker Hub as well. We will see here. Once it's been pushed, it will it has been it came here again, right? So Jenkins has updated the version again pushed to the GitHub. Okay, so now comes our Argo CD part. Okay, so hope you are aware how we can install the Argo CD things. Argo CD installation, just click on this link, choose the first link only, and here you will come to know what are the things you have to create the namespaces. Okay, so as I told you, I am already having done my setup. Let me show you terminal. Okay, I will try to again, if I will try to run the command, it will show me this Argo CD namespace already exists, correct? So what you have to do, you just have to run these command, kubectl apply. Okay, this one, if you want the web UI version, then only. Okay, after that, what you have to do, you just have to come to this Docker Argo AWS CLI, just go to this CLI installation documentation. Once you will come here, just run this command so that you know locally you would be able to run Argo CD commands. Correct. That is why otherwise your local will not understand the Argo CD command. Why we need that? In order to get the password. Okay, so this and the third step is access the Argo CD API server. This command you have to run. Okay, in the same way. But what I will do, I will just change this load balancer to node port. Okay, no change. Okay, if you want to list out all the things, like you can run kubectl get all hyphen n cd. So you can see once in your system these all things are up and running, then only you would be able to, you know, access your Argo CD server. So where is our Argo CD server? This is our Argo CD server, which has been exposed at 32473 node port. Okay, in order to access this, I'm going to just do the port forwarding. Just hit enter, and here you go. Once this is done, let me try to access the localhost and our Argo CD 8080, right? In which in this port I have forwarded. So by default, the username is admin, and the password, how we will get the password? Using this command, you will get the password. So right now, this command terminal is used for, you know, to start your Argo CD things. So let me create one more terminal. New window, let's run this command. And here you go. This is your password. You can change the password. If you don't want this, you can change the password using this command C. AWS account update password. So I will be using the same password. I am signed in. So this is my, you know, new Argo CD dashboard. Okay, apart from that, what I am going to do, you know, I am going to trigger the GitHub. Okay, because I haven't, you know, configured the webhook things. So that's what I am going to do now. Okay, so let's do that thing as well. So how we can do that? Let's go to our GitHub, go to the particular project where you want to configure the trigger webhook. Just click on settings. In the left side, you will see webhook option. Just click on that. Here we can see there is no any webhook option. Just hit on this. Just take the payload URL. Just take your Jenkins IP along with the port. It has been exposed. Okay. And then you have to write GitHub hyphen. Okay. And you can change the content type whatever you want. Either you can take application JSON or this. So let's take this only. As of now, we will see the advanced thing like how what are the push event available either for PR or pull request, or there are many things available you can see here. Okay, but right now for this moment, in some of the project I will show you. Don't worry about this because this is also very important thing. Let me add the webhook here. Okay, and once you will get the tick mark, means you are communicating with the Jenkins server. Okay, so let's do one thing. Let's try to run this pipeline again. All right, let's go to our Jenkins dashboard again. And here I will show you some issue. That is why I came back here. Okay, so it is 16 now. Okay, one more thing we forgot. Whenever whenever you configure webhook, you have to tick one more option. That is GitHub hook trigger for Git SCM polling. Then only you would be able to trigger this. Okay, let's do this. Let's go back to the Jenkins. So the particular job will get triggered now whenever a new push event happens. Okay, so it started triggering this job. So 18 number is running now. Okay, and you can see it is keep on running. You know why? Why? Because for once, let me cancel this and tell you. Okay, it will keep on running in a loop. Okay, why? Because once you will go to the code, okay, so suppose what is happening here, once you have triggered your job, okay, once you have triggered your job, your uh, your GitHub has been triggered your Jenkins pipeline, one thing, correct. Once you have triggered your job from local, your Jenkins, okay, your GitHub has been triggered your Jenkins. Your GitHub triggered your Jenkins pipeline, right? But when your Jenkins pipeline ran, when your Jenkins pipeline ran, and Jenkins pipeline done what? Jenkins pipeline updated the version of the deployment.yaml and it again pushed to the same GitHub. Again, a push event occurred. So that is why it is keep on running. It a cycle occurred, right? You have pushed to the GitHub, you have pushed the code to the GitHub. GitHub triggered the Jenkins. Jenkins has done some changes onto the deployment.yaml file. Again push to the GitHub, same branch. Okay, so push event is happening, keep on happening with each and every commits, right? So once manual thing is done, but that is fine. But again and again, your Jenkins is updating your version, image version, and again it is pushing it to the same repository. So push event is keep on occurring. So that is why it will keep on running. So for that reason, what you can do, either you can create a separate pipeline for this purpose, or what is the best practices whenever you follow a GitOps principle, the best practices should be you should create different branches for your CI and CD thing. Okay, so let me show you the Argo CD part as well. Okay, so let's click on this new application. Here you have to provide the application name, GitOps Argo CD. Project name, let's take default sync policy. I will tell you in brief. Let me choose this option. What is the repository URL? So what is our repository currently? So this is our repository, right? Let's take the, here you have to paste this. What is the branch? Main branch. What is the path of the deployment file? This is the path of my deployment file, right? Coming to this, what is the cluster URL? So right now we are using the local one where I have installed the Minikube, so that is why it is giving me this option. Correct. What is the namespace I want to use? I want to use my default namespace, and let's try to create this. So it's been created. Okay. But what will happen, it is out of sync, you can see. Okay. Why? Because we haven't configured the GitHub, right? We have to add the repository, GitHub repository, because that is that is a private repository mainly, right? So right now let's add a new repository via HTTPS, type git, what is the project default, what is the repository ID? Let's take What is the username and what is the password? So we have already stored, I have changed the personal access token. So you will use the personal access token as password again here as well. Let's go to password. Let's paste this. Connect, try to connect. And once you will get this successful option, it means like you are successfully able to, So let me do one thing. Let me create it again. It it seems like it is running in a loop. It's not responding. So let's create a new application then. GitOps. What is the project name? Sync policy. I will choose this self-filling. It should automatically take the changes. Here I will be choosing my repository. What is the branch and where is the deployment? Means where is the deployment and service file? I mean, what is the namespace, default namespace I would like to use? Just create this. One or more object failed to apply reason service flask app SVC is invalid. Node port, node port. I think I have done a spelling mistake. Okay. Let me go back to the code. Let me check the service. So this is caps node, right? So here we have the port, we have the target port. Okay. So I understood what I missed. So this is fine. But in the spec, we have to mention what type of service we want to use, right? That I missed. Either clustered IP or, cluster IP or node port or load balancer. So in these three, we have to select something. Okay, let's push this code now. Open an integrated terminal, git add. So this is good, like you are learning and implementing at the same time. We are troubleshooting as well. So don't think it is time consuming, but this is what issues you face while you do in real time. Okay. So let's see if this time it goes fine. Okay, let's go to our GitOps applications. So we can see many things here. Let's check. Okay, it failed. Again, this I think the GitHub thing. Why it is happening? Okay, let me take the personal access token again, and this time let me show you. I am keeping it no expiration. Generate token. Take this token. Go to your Jenkins, manage Jenkins, manage credential, GitHub, global credential, GitHub, update, change the password, and this, let's keep this password. And let's do one thing, let's add a .gitignore file. Okay, where I will keep .vs code, folder, git add, git push. Let me check. So in order to remove the error, don't know why my personal access token is troubling me, but I have done nothing, just I have changed again, created a new personal access token and assigned change to my Jenkins credential. That's it for this. Okay, it is troubling me, not sure. This is what you can do in order to incur the error. And apart from that, for GitHub thing, what I have done, the same GitHub token I have generated. I came to settings, came to repository. So I have changed the password as well. So it's in now sync. Coming to application side. So again, I have recreated the option with the same option which I have given you. So you can see these are the things which has been deployed here. Application deployment for Flask. Our service is here, and this is our pod. This is the deployment which is having one pod, right? So currently deployment. Okay, and this is our service, Flask app service, and this is our deployment. Correct. So you can add multiple service as well. Hope my Jenkins Git credential will not trouble this time. Let's see. So we can run multiple replicas of the same pod. So let's go to this. Let's after spec just add this. Make sure you are aligning as well. Okay. Let's rerun the pipeline. Let's check if our Jenkins pipeline is still keep on running. Oh my God. Okay. name Flask app container. Due to the error, it stopped, otherwise it was keep on running, right? Let's do one thing. Let's trigger the pipeline again. Why this is triggering to this Flask app container? What does this mean? So this is the reason, guys, my token is getting expired, So again, because I have kept it into on this file, see, and Jenkins file is getting triggered again and again, right? So that is why it is getting expired, right? So never do this, because we are allowing all the permission to this personal access token, and this is not at all a good practice, right? So what we can do, we can put it into let's generate a new GitHub password because it's been expired. So let's now follow the best practices as GitHub has suggested us. So let's generate a new token, classic. Let's delete the old expired tokens. We should never keep any secret, and we should never keep any, push to any GitHub. Argo CD. So now GitHub and all tools are, are more security concerned. That is why it happened. But we learned a new thing, correct? Let's take this and let's keep it somewhere else now. This is our token, correct? And what changes we have to do now? We just have to change here as well. Let's go to dashboard, then manage Jenkins, then manage credential, system, global credential. Let's do this, update this, correct? This time we have done fine, right? If it's fine, let's do one thing. Now let's trigger. Okay, one more thing what we have to do in the Argo CD. Let's go to repositories. This is our repo, right? Just edit this. Just edit and put the password which we have got. Copy, save. Fine. Now let's try to create the application again. Argo CD app, default, automatic. Let's choose the self-fill option so that it will automatically pull the code instead of manual trigger. It will keep on checking the GitHub. If new update is there, it will automatically pull. That's what it is doing. Where is the deployment and service file here? What is the cluster URL? This is our default cluster URL. And I want to launch it into default namespace. Just create it. So you can see it is syncing. Great. Let's wait for a moment, or you can click on this. You would be able to see two replicas we have created of the same pod which is running. Correct. If you want to know the app detail, which version currently it is using, so I think it's not been updated yet, because you know why? Because we have recently pushed it. Let's go to Jenkins, manage Jenkins. Not sure why this is failing. Flask app. What is the issue with this name? Maybe I'm not able to think at this moment. Okay. I think for this moment we should remove the this thing first. Okay, let me remove the GitHub webhook as well. Otherwise, this will keep on running for this moment. So now if we will check the application details and this, so my Jenkins was having some issue. So what I did, I just cleared the workspace for this moment. And if you can see this is the fifth build number. And if the once the build number has been, pushed here, what I did, it just pulled from the particular GitHub and updated. If you will go to the logs as well. So if we can see, earlier we were having this deployment is having V1 version, right? And after that it has replaced it with this, and we can see this has updated with the new version. Okay, once we have updated with the new version, the Argo CD was keep on checking the particular GitHub repository. Once it got some changes has been done, it just pulled the image to the latest one, right? If you want to check it again, you just do one thing, you just trigger the same pipeline again. Okay, so if we can check the logs again. Okay, so it is pushing our new image. Okay, it has done the changes, correct? What is the image version this time? 6. If we will go to this, you can see it will automatically start syncing. Okay, let's go to the app details. Okay, let's click on the application. If it is not getting, just if you will refresh this page, okay, see it will automatically sync with the particular GitHub repository, you can see, and it will try to apply the latest changes to the Minikube cluster. Okay, if now we will check, so this moment, okay, so see this, so that has been replaced. It has done what? It has created first the new latest changes, then only it deleted the previous changes. So now let's do one thing. Let's just go get started with the best practices. Okay. So now what we will do, we will just, what are the things we have done? Let's check it quickly. This is we have done GitHub. This has we have done trigger Jenkins using VS Code done. Webhook configuration done, pipeline application overview done, Dockerizing Python application, Kubernetes manifest file, connect Kubernetes to Argo CD done, connect private GitHub repository to this done. Now what we have to check, triggered CD Jenkins job using the curl command and pass variable from CI pipeline. This is very, very important, guys. It is going to be, a complete code change for now. Okay. So what we will do, GitOps Argo CD project is there. Let's create one more repository, GitOps Argo CD. This will be GitOps Argo, and let me take this name here. So we have created the repository as a private repository here. All right. So let's do one thing. Let's create some file here, like suppose deployment.yml file. Correct. So now what I wanted to do, CI should do what? CI should just build the build the build the Python application and stored one image version to the Docker Hub. That's it. CI should not update this. Once CI will update, once CI will push the latest image, like with the build number, say with the build number 7. Once I will build the build with build number 7, it will do what? It will trigger the second job with a value. Like this is the build number, take it. Seventh build number, take it and update your manifest file according to that. Okay. So this is what we will do now. Let's do one thing. Let's copy the same code. Deployment.yml file. Let's go to back to the code. Let's paste this. Okay. I am keeping this version as it is for this moment. Let's commit this. Okay, all right. And apart from that, what we will do, we will just try to create one more Jenkins CD job here. So Jenkins file CD. Okay, and here what I will do, I will just take, with help of this Control A, Control C, go to Jenkins file CD. And what are the things we don't need? Just let's delete this. We need the GitHub checkout SCM. We need that, right? Push image is not our job here. This stages are not required here. Delete Docker images not required here. Updating file is required here, and this is required here, right? The image tag. So we have to reuse the same code, right? We don't want to use again a image tag here because I want to keep it in sync with the CI pipeline. So what are the things we have to remove from here? I can keep the application name as it is here, and I can delete these things which is not required here. And what I will do, I will try to send the GitHub. I will try to send the image name from the CI itself. Okay, so this is fine. Let's look. This looks fine. And now what we will do, we will take the GitHub repository, this GitHub repository URL, correct, for the CD part. Okay, let's update this. Updated. Updated. What is the repository name? Main repository, right? Branch name is main only, correct? Okay, this part is done. Now let's go to Jenkins, this part. And what we have decided, it should not do the CD part. Let's remove these things from here and let's add a new stage here. Okay, so that it will trigger the second Jenkins pipeline. Okay, so just give me a moment. Let's try to take the Jenkins CD code and let's create a new pipeline for this. Click on new item and GitOps CD, take any random name. Okay, and here what we will be doing, we will just paste this code. Okay, and make sure you are using the CD branch here, which is containing your Git, your deployment.yaml file. Okay, now your CI will not contain any deployment file. Okay, once this is done, make sure you are using this uh, branch as well. Okay, and here application name we have, but we do not have the image tag, right? This is what we have decided to take from the previous one, right? So what we will do, we will try to send this from previous to this one. So we have to create a new stage for this, right? So let's go ahead and let's create a new stage now. So let's go to CD CI part and let's create a new stage here. So it will do what? It will trigger our CD job. Okay, stage, name it something, trigger the CD pipeline or any meaningful thing you can give, steps, script, and here we have to mention the shell script. Okay, so I have already wrote it. So let me explain you what does it mean. P and paste it. All right. So this is nothing but this is curl command. Using curl command, we are trying to trigger this. This is just to enable the verbose. Here you have to mention the which user. So this is my Jenkins user, and this is the token you have to provide. So how you will get this? Like this is your Jenkins username, and this is the token like password. How you will get that? Just go to back to your Jenkins. Just click on this top icon username. Just click on this. Just go to configure, and here in the same way you have to add a new token and you have to generate it. Okay, once you will get it, just copy the same and come back to your pipeline. Just come back to your pipeline and here it is. Okay, these are just header and all, which is what is the type of trigger which we are doing. This is just an information. And see, this is the data tag which is we are passing. So this is the CI code from which we are passing the image tag to the CD, right? Because CD need that, right? If you will go back again to the CD configure, and okay, I think we didn't saved it. Saved it. So here if you will see, we are having just application name, but in order to edit this, we will need a tag. Tag means build number of Jenkins. This which will come from where? This will come from the previous Jenkins build, right? So that is why it is here. So that is why we are passing from this side, right? As a data, we are passing image tag, and this image tag should be taken by the CD pipeline, right? So for that, what we have to do? First thing we have to do what? This build is parameterized. Choose string parameter. What is the name we give? Image tag, right? And let's keep some description as well for this. So whatever you want to give, you can give it here. Image tag. Fine. Apart from this, what we have to do is this job should be triggered remotely, correct? So you have to choose this option, and here you have to provide some authentication token. So I will provide something like GitOps config. Okay, use the same name in code. We will be using the same name in code where. So once we are passing this image and the CD will capture now, and this is our Jenkins URL, right? This is our Jenkins URL till this part, And here we are sending build with parameter, correct? Because we are sending the image ID, that is why. And here we have to use a token so that it will get, a particular job will get triggered using that token if this will match. So we are using this token. Let's take this. And okay, so we are having the same name, right? So just replace here. Okay. So this is all about this script. So let's take this script. Let's just go back to the CI part and let's go to configure. Let's try to add this stage here. Okay, once we have added, let's try to trigger this. Okay, so I have saved this job and now I will try to build it. So see, okay, let's do one thing. Let's go to CD. It is not yet executed. If okay, syntax curl not found. So curl command is missing, I guess, here. Let's go to the Jenkins. Okay, curl is already there. Let's try to trigger the same. Okay, let me check again the error. Image tag is coming properly, right? This is our job, build with parameters. And token equals to this curl not found. Let me check and come back to you, otherwise it will take time. I think this can be a issue. So actual reason was this the token we have generated from the Jenkins was expired, so that I have changed, and once I have ran this, it got succeeded. So let's check again. So this should now push our, image tag will be 22 this time, right? So let's check if our job is getting triggered. Okay, Okay, so it's done, right? Okay, so earlier it was 5 due to the failures and all, and that has been replaced with 22. 22 is nothing but the build number of this job, correct? This has been passed and it's been executed, correct? And one more thing we have to do in order to achieve this, let's check what is the app details. So this app detail is taking, still things from the previous repository, correct? So what we have to do, we have to change the repository now because we have to pass the previous repository, right? So let's do one thing, open this. Why it's coming here? Okay, I think we can't update this. Let's do one thing. Let's disconnect these things because this is not required, right? Let's do from scratch. Connect the repo SSH. This is the Git ID, right? Which is the project, default project. What is the repository URL? Okay, repo URL we will get from. Now we will put the repo URL of CD, correct? So let's take the URL of this, go back to the, okay, what is the username? Make sure you are passing correctly. And what is the password? Password we will be getting from here, right? Copy. Let's check if it is able to connect. Okay, it's connected, right? Let's go to application now. Let's do one thing. Let's delete this first. Let's create this from scratch again. We don't need this now. Okay, so I will be creating a new application, Argo CD, correct? What is the project name? I will be choosing automatic. Self-fill. Apart from this, let's choose the repo. This is our repo, right? CD, what is the branch? Main, what is the path of deployment? Dot, what is the cluster? What is the namespace? Default, right? Let's try to create this. And now once this is done, we will test our application end to end. Okay, so it has started fetching. Hopefully this is 22, right? Let's do one thing. Let's rerun the pipeline from scratch. So this is our CI pipeline, right? And this is our CI pipeline. So this time it should pass 23 to our image, right? Let's check here. Let's go to this pipeline. Third build is still running, right? So this time it should update this, correct? It has updated already, right? And once it has been updated, our Git this Argo CD should pull the latest changes and should apply. Let's check if it is able to do or not. I think it is taking some time. Let's refresh this. Okay, so it is started progressing, right? So it takes some time to pull the changes. Okay, so don't worry about that. Okay, so we can check the app details. It is healthy and see now 23 is up and running, right? Our 23 build number and 23 build number image. Okay, so this was all about the project. So we have covered this thing as well. So let me know if you have any comments or any thing you want to change, or if you are facing any kind of difficulty, just let me know. Would happy to help. Thank you so much for watching this project. Bye bye.